Hello, everybody. I'm going to give you an overview of what to do in week 2 of summer school, English 1B. I'm going to share the screen here and you can take a look. And it's pretty straightforward. Once you have got the swing of how my course is designed, we have lecture content area. And actually then there's a second, I broke it up into 2 different sections. It looks like a lot, but it's really not when you think about it. Each one of these is the equivalent of a page in a chapter of a book. And in this case, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages right there. Another looks like 7 or 8 pages here. And then I have a quiz and review section. And don't worry about your grades on these quizzes. They're mostly to review the material that I've presented. They're more of a teaching mechanism than they are a grading mechanism. Even if you miss a couple of points on these, it's not going to hurt your overall course grade. And even if you get a very low score, you can always make up with class participation. I give a lot of extra credit for simple things like I give extra credit if you respond to another classmate in a discussion. I don't require that. Some teachers do. I prefer to make it voluntary and to be very lavish with my extra credit for students who contribute by saying something positive to another student in the discussion. Speaking of discussions, there's a bunch of discussions here in week number 2. And then after all the discussions, here's that section where you can register for Turnitin, and there will be a new course ID number in there for you because I have to put in, I'm still designing the course, I'm going to put in a new course number for each section. So pay careful attention to that. Go there, log in so that you can submit your first essay to Turnitin. Speaking of submitting your essay, you have the option of earning an extension if you revise with help from the Writing Center. And there's a whole little mini section here in week number 2 where I have a focus on revision. There's a chapter to read and a textbook that I wrote, believe it or not, and a television program that I produced that goes in. To this, I'm only using 1 or 2 chapters from that book this semester. It's actually usually used for English 1A. In fact, if you're one of my former English 1A students, you've probably already read the chapter and seen the television program about revision. You don't have to do it again, but there is a discussion. Maybe you can add something to the discussion about the process of revision. I'd really like you to think about revising your paper with help from the Writing Center before you submit it to me for a grade. And that's one of the reasons that I have offered a generous extension if you do that of the due date. If you don't work with the Writing Center, then please submit your first essay by the originally published due date. That's it for right now. It's pretty simple. Let me show you one more thing. I showed this to you in a previous video, but just in case it didn't take, when you read through the sections of lecture discussion, read it like it's a book. So let's go to week 2 lecture discussion. If you click on the first one, read through that. That's a little introduction. Bottom right-hand corner, click next. Read through all of this. Click bottom right-hand corner, click next. Sometimes there's a little bit of a video in there along with my writing, and then click next and so forth until you get down to the ending of the section from the lecture content area of the course. If you just kind of randomly go from one lecture content to the next one and you don't follow it in sequence, it's sort of like reading a book where you read page 3 and then you read page 1 and then you read page 5 and it's all out of sequence. It works sort of, because I do kind of break down each page to individual ideas, but it works best if you start at the top, read through it, click next, start at the top of the page, read to the bottom, click next, and so forth. And you know, it looks like a lot of material, but it's really not. I've timed it, and from what I can tell, it takes the average student less than an hour to read through all the lecture content material and watch the videos. So don't get intimidated if it looks like it's too much material. I really have tried as much as I can to design the course so that you won't get overwhelmed. As long as you put in that 15 to 20 hours a week that I asked you to dedicate to this course, you'll be fine. It won't be 30 or 40 hours a week. I promise you. That's more like a full-time job. This is just a part-time job at, the equivalent of working at Taco Bell or Burger King for 14, 15 hours a week. Oh boy, comparing my course to working at Taco Bell, I think I've reached a new high there. All right, everybody, big smile. Enjoy the process. It really is, you're going to learn a lot more if you savor the learning and take your time and smile.